Title: Amara, the River Goddess's Child. My friends, listen closely tonight, because the story I'm about to tell you is one that still makes the hairs on my skin rise whenever I remember it. It happened many years ago in a small Catholic boarding school tucked by the banks of River Udume, a river feared and respected, said to be the home of a goddess. Now, on the very first day of a new term, a girl arrived. Her name was Amara. She was beautiful, yes, but not the kind of beauty that warmed the heart, no. Hers was the kind that unsettled you. Skin smooth like polished bronze, hair shining as if it drank oil from the sun itself, and her eyes too pale, almost unnatural. She hardly spoke. She hardly smiled. And that very first night, when the other girls rushed to bathe, Amara stayed quietly on her bed. "Amara, aren't you going to bathe?" a senior asked. She only smiled faintly and said, "Later," but later never came. At midnight, one girl swore she saw her walking barefoot, her white nightdress glowing under the moonlight, heading straight toward the river. The next morning, strange things began to happen. Buckets in the dormitory were filled with dead fish. Some had slimy frogs still croaking. A JSS 2 girl, trembling in fear, claimed that as she fetched water from the well, a cold, wet hand tried to pull her under. And that night, the classrooms were mysteriously flooded. Though the skies were clear, not a single drop of rain. But Amara? Amara was always spotless, neat, unbothered. Her bucket always full, though no one ever saw her fetch water. The girls began to whisper, "Who exactly is this Amara?" There was one girl, though Ngozi, bold, stubborn, the kind who hated secrets. One night, she followed Amara. Step by step, she crept behind her, through the mango trees, until they reached the riverbank. And what Ngozi saw that night haunted her forever. The river began to stir, and then, it parted like a curtain. From its depths rose a shadowy figure, tall, with eyes that glowed brighter than fireflies. The very air shook with its presence. Amara bowed, and in a strange tongue, she began to sing. The river glowed beneath her feet. Ngozi gasped, frozen in terror. She turned to run, but Amara's head snapped around, and in a voice that cut through the night, she said, "You shouldn't have seen that." By dawn, Ngozi had fallen terribly sick. She vomited water, her skin burned with fever, and in her sleep, she screamed, clutching her throat as if drowning. Sometimes, in the still of the night, she would cry out in a voice not her own, "Return her child! Return her child!" The school matron called the nurse. The priest was summoned. Prayers were said, but nothing changed. And soon, the whispers began again. Amara is not human. Amara is the daughter of the river goddess. One stormy evening, the principal called Amara. "Amara, speak the truth. What do you know about this?" And finally, Amara wept. She confessed. She had been offered to the river goddess at birth. Every term, the goddess demanded a soul. If Amara refused, the goddess would flood the entire school and drown everyone. "My mother will never let me go," Amara whispered. That night, the heavens opened. Rain poured down, heavy and wild. River Udume swelled, its waves crashing, its roar like thunder. At midnight, it broke its banks. Water gushed into the compound. Dormitories flooded. Girls screamed, clinging to their beds as the flood pulled them under. And in the middle of the chaos, Amara rose from her bunk, calm, her eyes glowing faintly. She hummed the same strange melody Ngozi had heard. The waters parted for her feet as she walked toward the river. "Amara, don't go!" the girls screamed. But the waters dragged them back. Then a voice rose from the river deep, thundering, terrifying. "She is mine." At the riverbank, Amara turned. Her pale eyes glistened with tears. "Forgive me," she whispered. And with that, she plunged into the raging waters. Instantly, the storm stopped. The rain ceased. The floods retreated. By dawn, she was gone. But the story did not end there. Her bed was found drenched, soaked in river water, though her body was never found. And even today, they say that if you pass by River Udume at night, you may hear her humming. Some girls swear that in the dormitory bathrooms at exactly midnight, a soft voice whispers, "Never bathe in my mother's water." My friends, that is the tale of Amara, the river goddess's child. Remember it well. Thank you for watching.